This is your second You Pick Tuesday matchup of the week, and I have to say this is a doozy. Markus Ruhl, 2004, Phil Heath, 2013. And you may take note on who requested this. It's the Clacks. They took over Fan Request Friday, and here they are invading You Pick Tuesday, but only one per week, Clacks. Either way, though, I'm sure you guys are not disappointed in this pick. Markus Ruhl. He is coming from a different era, the early 2000s, Jay Cutler, monsters. I mean, you had Ronnie Coleman. Unless you were 250, 60 pounds, you weren't even noticed. And Phil Heath, as big as he is, he was being dwarfed a little bit in size by a Jay Cutler, who was really being dwarfed on another note by guys like Markus Ruhl was Jay Cutler. So this is a size, just a huge size advantage for Markus Ruhl. But when you look at the midsection, the tight waist for Phil Heath, the legs, V-taper, Phil Heath will have an advantage in certain aspects. But my soul, are we safe to assume we're going to ignore that clavicle width? Jeez Louise, I'd give an edge to Markus Ruhl. But we go to the back development, and that edge is taken right away. And this is confusing for some novice fans of bodybuilding. It's conditioning and the last storage, the last defense of fat storage, liquid, water in your body goes to the bum, the glutes. And clearly, even in these old pictures, you can see soft glutes for Markus Ruhl and tight, striated glutes for Phil Heath. Now that is a conditioned bodybuilder. And in another note, people say, oh, you can't tell from pictures. Unless you were there, you can't say. Well, come on, guys. You can clearly see, even in this blurry picture, Markus Ruhl does not have tight, striated glutes. And you can clearly see Phil Heath does. So, take that edge away that Markus Ruhl got in the front. I would give an edge in the symmetry round to Phil Heath because of the conditioning. But we go to the front double bicep pose, guys, and this is a dinosaur. This is another dimension. And even in the midsection here, Phil Heath not the best as far as muscle separation is concerned. A little bit of a Buddha belly even in 2013. But I have to say, it's the size of the biceps. And I don't want to hear nothing about synthol, anything like that. And I use 2004 Arnold Classic here for Markus Ruhl because there was no good picture of a front double bi at the Olympia. So they didn't request the Olympia anyway. So on we go to the front lat spread. And the quality of Phil Heath is so much better, guys. I mean, I was giving Markus Ruhl a buy in the front double buy because of the biceps themselves. They were big, bulbous, Arnold Schwarzenegger-like biceps. I'll get to the chopper. But the quality here of Phil Heath, Markus Ruhl, I never really liked his front lat spread. I hate to sound nitpicky. I mean, I don't want to be too negative towards bodybuilders. I want to get my job taken away from me. People sign a petition. But anyway, bodybuilding, you have to be critical. You have to critique physiques. That's what it's all about. Anyway, neither one the best in this pose, but I'd still give an edge to Phil. Side chest rather. And this one, I made Phil quite a bit shorter in this one because he's bending at the knees quite substantially. And what that does, guys, it creates so much size in the legs. All the angles, tilts, everything like that. And it just makes them look like monsters in comparison to the taller, more statuesque, the older way of hitting this pose. And I'm sure, pound for pound, the chest development of Markus Ruhl, far greater than Phil Heath's. But in the display, Phil may get an edge. Now here's the hoo-ha pose, the hoo-ha position. And it's Buddha bellies all around, with all due respect to both of these gentlemen. But like I said, guys, this is about critiquing physiques, and a true announcer, or I know what you guys know what I'm getting at, a true announcer, he should have a perfect model of a bodybuilder in his mind, and if these guys are not measuring up to that, you should mention it. And like I said, both of these guys, a little bit of a distended midsection, but this is not a mandatory pose. This one is. And honestly, hard to get the sizes correctly on this one because Markus is such a monster that I think it would surprise us how much bigger he is than Phil Heath. I mean, come on, Marcus was dwarfing Ronnie Coleman in certain poses, in size-wise, in the upper body, that is. And Phil Heath, clearly probably bigger in the legs in this pose, but in the upper body, losing for sure. But like I said, he is on a much smaller frame. He packs more of a punch, I think, and he is tilted maybe a little too to the side, but on another note, Markus Ruhl, he's basically hitting this from the front, so I would give an edge aesthetically to Phil Heath. Now, this is where matches are, let's face it, won or lost. And it's not because you're adding up the poses. It's not like a rear lat spread is worth more. But to me, this shows the conditioning. And let's face it, Markus Ruhl, as good as he looked here for 2004, this is the Arnold Classics, by the way. Couldn't find a rear lat spread, a good one of the Olympia. As good as he was for his time, I mean, Jay Cutler never really that strided in the glutes, so he was decent. But Phil Heath brings another level. This is Ronnie Coleman type conditioning when it comes to the glutes. And just perfect is Phil Heath in this pose. Perfect. But like I said, no disrespect meant to Markus Ruhl. Perfect here for Markus Ruhl. I mean, awesome. Rear double bicep, same situation, same story. It's qualities, baby please, proper. Louis Marco. I miss that guy. I miss his videos. Anyway. Enough about that. There's always Nick Strength and Powers. There's always Desktop Bodybuildings. I like that channel, guys. But anyway, beating around the bush here. It's no sense of really bad-talking Markus Ruhl. I mean, he's huge. He's monstrous. Look at the biceps. That's as good as Robbie Robinson from behind in the bicep development. And kudos for Markus Ruhl for having a diced set of hamstrings as well. But when you look at the glutes, that's conditioning, guys. It's not like I'm a glute lover. I don't love men's bums. But like I said, that's your last defense for fat storage. Turn around for the ab and thigh, and that's a big set of abs for Markus Ruhl. You know what I mean? Like that's a plate. If I were to just wear that in my little body, I'd fit right in that ab setup. It's a huge set of abs and more aesthetic than Phil Heath's. Apologize. A little bit tongue-tied today, but either way, Phil Heath may be fetching a loss in this one because of his ab setup. A little separation in the mid there. Could be genetics plus all the stuff they take really forces the abs together. But I've seen a lot of guys like Markus Ruhl without the split. A lot of guys like that, no matter how much gear they get on, they never get that split in the abs. So I personally, and it's up to me to decide for myself, I personally think it's a genetic thing plus all the other stuff, and it makes it look, weird. Because there's plenty of guys like Markus Ruhl never got that split in the abs. Here in the most muscular, I always find this one hilarious for Markus Ruhl, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Is that the top of his abs? It looks like he's grabbing his wiener. Anyway, though, with all due respect, children watching, anyway, I get dirty-minded, but either way, it is kind of funny. Markus Ruhl, he's built like a big box, a big square box with a divot head. And Phil Heath, he looks like a monster. You see that? It looks like a pyramid monster with a head that looks like it's going to pop. He's screaming out in pain. Now, that's disrespectful, saying Markus Ruhl is a divot head. But it doesn't matter, guys. We're making videos celebrating these guys' physiques. So, it's not for bleeding hearts, the sport. You're showing your physique, saying, look at me. I'm the best in the world. If I'm not the winner, you should be able to explain why. And that's what negativity is. It's saying, okay, he's not winning because of this and that and the other thing. Phil's arms look bigger here on a much smaller frame. Makes him look more monstrous, more muscular. But anyway, this one could go to Markus Ruhl, and a lot of the front poses could go to the Ruhl man. But here's your winner, in my opinion. A clear win, clear victory. It's all about conditioning. In aesthetics even, Phil Heath was winning on a lot of the poses. So 2013, Philip J. Heath, the Doctor, whatever you would like to call him, the Gift. I like to call him the Doctor, Dr. Phil. Because of the talk show and PhD, Phil Heath domination. And he could get his PhD here in 2020 at the Olympia. Who knows? Hope you guys enjoyed the second You Pick Tuesday matchup. Get your request in, guys. Throw as many requests as you want on You Pick Tuesday. And the one that gets the most thumbs up, that gets played next week. So it has nothing to do with the first one, anything like that. Just throw a good request in that you think a lot of my audience will give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Oh, geez, 10 minutes. Have a protein shake. My soul. This was a good one. See you later, guys.